All right, guys. Well, welcome back to the horror room. This is part two of my interview
Oh shit!
with Jeff Frumess. All right, Jeff. All right. So you asked me the question. How did I feel about Get Out? So,
Yes.
so I actually did a video. It was one of my first videos here. It was called "Who Are Jordan Peele Movies For?" You know what I mean?
Oh shit!
Because most people would say, if you read the comments, most white people would say, "Oh, it's for black people." But if you actually walk up to the average black person, they've never seen Get Out. They've never seen a Jordan Peele film.
Oh shit!
And guess what? If you ask the average black woman has never seen Get Out. And do you know why the average black woman refuses to watch Get Out? Because it's a black man with a white woman. They refuse to watch that movie.
And that's a whole. I know there's something. There's a thing.
Yes,
with that. That's a thing.
The average black woman has not seen the movie Get Out, and Get Out was number one in the movie theaters and all that stuff. And to the average non-black person, you think that it was black people who went to go see that movie. No, it was other races. So no, Jordan Peele has. I'm not saying he doesn't have a black. I actually just did what's it called with a black filmmaker, and we talked about how much we hate Jordan Peele movies, but
you know what's funny? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening.
But Get Out. I love Get Out. Get Out is a masterpiece. And if you ask me like anything about any other Jordan Peele movies, I have nothing good to say about this movie. I'm not a Jordan Peele fan, but I do love Get Out.
Interesting. Okay, so you did not. So Us, No Bueno, and
No
Nope,
Bueno.
and Nope was Nope.
And then he was attached to that Kenny Rand reboot, whatever. I hate that fucking movie too.
Candyman. Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was okay. It just was.
I saw it in theaters. I fell asleep halfway through it.
Yeah, it was.
And I love Candyman,
Right. By the way, talking about he also played Tony Todd played Ben in the Night of the Living Dead remake, and he was excellent as Ben in that Night of the Living Dead remake.
Tony Todd's amazing. Nice guy too. I met him in person.
He's fucking man.
He's a Yankee fan just like I am. So go Yankees.
There you go. Wait, so that's very so yeah. So Get Out. Mm-hmm. You're saying that Get Out was not embraced. It's a movie about the black experience, but for like white people and other races.
I don't know, but listen, I just know when I saw Get Out in the movie theater. So I went and saw it like over the weekend. I go to see a lot of movies in movie theater, horror movies.
Yeah, as do I.
And I looked around and I was one of probably 2 or 3 black people there. And it was packed house, sold out. So like I was like, that's interesting. And even like I was there by myself, and I would say the 2 other black people there, they were with a white person. You know what I mean? You can tell they were a couple. So black guy with a white woman.
And that changes the dynamic a little bit as well in some way.
Maybe, I don't know. I did not see any black couples there, you know.
Right. Okay, yeah. So that would be.
But like I said, if you randomly walk up onto a black woman on the street and say, "Have you seen Get Out?" They're gonna say, "I'm not watching that fucking shit," because there's this resentment that black man, white woman.
Yes, I'm aware of this. And stigma, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and I don't want to see a movie where poor black man who's with a white woman gets whatever he gets. I don't give a fuck. He should get whatever he gets, for being with a white woman. So that is the mindset. So, but yeah, I enjoyed Get Out. I enjoyed Get Out. I even had a moment that I have in the past. I have dated white women. I've had my own Get Out moments. Going to meet their family and shit, and it's very awkward. I just feel like baby boomers and older white people know how to make a black person feel uncomfortable in like a setting where you know what I mean. I feel like they try to make you comfortable, but
it makes you even more uncomfortable.
It makes you uncomfortable because you see that you're putting so much effort into. Like, I don't know how to explain it, man. I don't know how to
listen. I mean, I think I understand it. I think I understand what you're saying. It's and allow me to repeat it back. And if I don't have it right, I don't have it right. What you're saying is that by putting more emphasis on trying to make you comfortable, it sort of underlines the notion that there are differences, or that you're somebody from, you know, outside of this family, being kind of like welcomed
It's
in, instead of just being like just
just
chill.
being normal. It's like,
Right.
I know that you're different. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right. Yes.
I know that, like for instance, in that movie, like her father says, "Oh, yeah, I bet you're a Tiger Woods fan." I literally had a woman's father
Holy shit.
say that exact line, and I had I'm gonna tell you all the crazy things I've had a woman's father say. Um, I was on an all black basketball team when I was growing up, or
Just
something like that,
randomly,
or
just because you're a black dude.
it just came out of nowhere, or I was the only white guy in a black funk band or something. It would just be something like that. I'm like, okay, well, where the fuck did that come from? Like, we're talking about
Yeah, what does that have to do with it?
something else. Like, it just comes out of nowhere, and I
Because
just feel like baby boomers and older white people don't know how to or what to say sometimes.
do you think that maybe it has to do, maybe, I don't know. This is me guessing. Does it have to do, is it like maybe they're hyper aware, that they're more hyper aware of it, and they're trying to make themselves like, they want to be something, they want to be welcoming, and they want to be like, and so they overdo it. It's like they're
Yes,
so
yes.
extra,
It's
because and then it's like you get weird. I mean, that would literally make my skin crawl if someone just randomly was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I was on an all black basketball team." Like, what a fucking
yeah, where does that
weird.
come from? Like, it's like, what? And I was like, I was in a funk band. I was in an all black funk band while I was in college. So I'm like, okay, well, what does that have to do with anything? Like, what are we talking about? It's weird. So like when I watch Get Out as a black man who has dated white women in the past, right?
Mhm.
Every situation in that movie, I've either heard, witnessed, or felt. So Christopher Washington, I believe this is his character in the movie. I related to Christopher Washington in that movie, and I feel like most black men who have dated a white woman for a significant amount of time, where you get to the point where you're going to her family fucking event, has felt that. I feel like most black women who have dated a white man who has went to a family event has felt that. Um, and I feel like in every white family, there's always a racist, and it's not even like there's always a racist, and like, oh, Uncle Jim, he's a racist, but so don't ignore him. So there's always a racist white guy that your partner has told you about beforehand.
Because they're trying to just temper you, like, "Hey,
But I
just so
wish I
you
didn't
know."
even know. But I even wish I wish I'd even known. I wish I just went in there and just like, I don't know. I think I wouldn't have been as focused on racist Jim over there in the corner.
You know what's interesting too, and I've noticed this. I know this is a thing. I know this is a thing for, black people sometimes, and Jews have something similar, where you're in a room full of people, and even if you don't know the one other person who is like you, there's like a shared sort of like if I'm in a room and there's only one other Jewish person, even if I don't know that Jewish person, I'm like, "Oh, there's the other Jew. We're both Jews."
Yes, yes,
There's
yes,
like
yes.
a there's
But
like a
but
fraternity or something. I can't explain it. There's like a
but that's any
synergy.
minority. But I feel like that's most minority. It could be me,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
could be a Middle Eastern guy in a corner,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
surrounded by white people. We look at each other like, you
Yeah.
know, it's like it's almost a nod. Like, if some shit go down and I don't see it, please,
But
please let
what's
me
funny.
know.
Yes, yes. But it's interesting because, like, and for me, I'm an Ashkenazi Jew, so it's a weird sort of intersectionality, because when I'm, amongst other Jews, I might just be, and when I'm amongst other, when I'm just by myself, I'm just, a white guy, right? But if I'm in a room full of other people who are not Jewish, suddenly I'm a Jew. It
Yeah.
changes. It
That's
changes.
that must be a scary dynamic, isn't it?
Well, it's not that it's scary. Well, yeah, it can be scary, but it's you
Yeah,
know what it is? It's like for us, like the moment it's like being in the closet. Like I can be in the closet. You don't have to know I'm a Jew unless I tell you I'm a Jew.
that's true.
And the moment, but here's the thing. So I'm just a white guy until I tell you I'm a Jew. But the moment that I tell you that I'm a Jew, I'm a Jew. And people know I'm a Jew. And people don't forget that I'm a Jew. And people
Yeah,
start making jokes and they think it's
yeah,
cool. Like it's amazing. And it's amazing how you might mention just on the sly, like just on the casual, whatever, that you're Jewish, like
mhm.
even in the slightest bit. And then like months later, somebody will like remember it and make a joke. And like they kept in the back of their mind that you were a Jew. So it's this weird sort of thing. It's like, oh, like you don't know I'm even wearing this necklace, right? Like you
Yeah,
don't know. You don't know until I show you. That's like the benefit that Ashkenazi Jews have. And my wife, she's Mizrahim, so she's dark. She's real dark. She's from Iraq. She's also a Jew. But you know, I can blend in with a room full of white people,
and they won't
and
know.
yeah, it's just I'm just a white guy. I'm a white guy, but the
Mhm.
moment that I'm in a room with other white people and I say I'm a Jew, I'm not a white person anymore. I am a Jew. I change. And what's interesting is when you know that there's one other Jew in the room, there's this nod of
Yep, it's a
like
nod.
yeah, we sort like we may not talk, we may not even like each other, but there's like a
Yep.
shared wavelength of like I don't know, affinity in some way, shape, or form. And it's just something that you don't understand unless
Well, I'm gonna tell you a perfect example of this. Like my
sure.
sworn enemy in high school, black guy, right? Sworn
Yeah.
enemy. We just hated
Okay.
each other. Always just never got along.
Yeah.
And years later, as adults, we were in a situation where we were the only two black guys, right?
Yeah.
I was like, there's that fucking asshole over there. But we still nod because even though we didn't like each other, it was this nod like if you see some shit, wave me over, give me the thumbs up or something, and I'm gonna do the same thing. You know what I mean? And we're sworn enemies, but in that situation, we're kind of looking out for each other.
And like people don't understand this. Like this is not something like unless you've ever been in that situation, or unless you are black or you are Jewish or you're Spanish or you're whatever. You don't know what that, or you may not, like people do not I guess most people don't understand this sort of dynamic. It goes under their nose because they don't have to worry about it. It
Yeah,
doesn't bother them. They don't have that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I consider it's like being in the Jewish closet. Like, I can hide. You just see me, you're like, oh yeah, that guy maybe he's Italian, maybe some whatever. But the moment you find out is like, oh, maybe he has horns under that hat, or maybe, does he drink blood? Like, like that.
well, one thing about black people, we invite, which could be to our detriment. We invite everybody to the cookout, right? We make everybody feel comfortable at
Mm,
the cookout or the family event. Like we don't,
hmm.
hey, you're a white boy, or anything. We don't do that. We're just like, hey. But I have a question for you. So before you got
Yeah.
married on that stuff, did you ever have your get out moment? Have you ever dated like a white woman or somebody, or a white woman, and she made it known that you were a Jew, and people are now asking about yarmulkes and shit?
Not in a dating situation. And again, I think that I think Jews don't it's not a one-to-one experience that I think. And again, obviously, I'm not black, so I can't speak to
Mhm.
that experience in the same way that you can't speak to the Jewish experience.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's exactly a one-to-one thing. I think that what black people deal with is way more intense. It's on another, I don't know. I don't even want to compare it, but it's
yeah,
a different level of intensity that is brought on by the fact that, if you see a black person in a room, you know that they're fucking black. Like you
You know they're
can't.
black. We're
There's
staying
you
right
know
now.
there's
Yeah.
black. They're not
Mhm.
hiding. They can't hide. Like I've had black friends share their black experience. Being black in America or whatever, and it's funny, which became more intensified for me. I'll tell you, as a white person or whatever, white adjacent, whatever, as a white person seeing Get Out, for me, and I think a lot of white people or white passing people, whatever, I think it really illuminated, heightened more what the black experience is about. It gives us a POV into an insight that we are blind to. Because we don't have to deal with that sort of the friggin' emotional labor of dealing in those situations in a variety of ways.
Mhm.
It's really kind of it's interesting, and that's why I think Get Out is such an important movie, a special movie, because Jordan Peele was somehow able to bridge this like sort of racial gap through his horror storytelling and
Yes.
show what the POV or an akin to we can never really truly see,
Mhm.
but as close as what we could see to what that is like, and like make this again a very interesting, unique movie with a heavy fucking message. It's a
Yeah, because
heavy fucking
it's
message.
a heavy message, but because when I seen the trailer to that movie, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is going to be. But it looks interesting, and then but I was not expecting. I was not expecting to relate to that movie so much. I was not expecting to be like, oh my god, I've definitely experienced that. I saw that. Like, I mean, I was just waiting for the woman's dad to say something about being the only black guy on the basketball team. I was like literally waiting for that said because everything that was said and happened, I was like, I wonder if more minorities experience that when it comes to meeting a white individual's family. You know what I mean? I wonder if that's something that they experience. And because I've definitely experienced that. It's almost like, do you know how Chris's character? It seemed like every time he looked around, everybody was looking at him. And
And
everybody was
that's what
going.
but that's like that was the thing that I saw as a not a black man. That's what I took from watching Get Out. I'm like, this is as close as I can get to that POV
Yeah.
of like that's the uneasy feeling that can occur in real life
Mhm.
situations.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
So
continue what you were saying. You were
no,
saying
but no, no, but I mean, just that and like the hey, come over. It's just that extra attention. You know what I mean? It's that extra attention that everybody wants to talk to you.
mm,
And I listen. It could be because you're brand new, but to me, it just seems way over the top. It just seems way over the top. It seems like
yeah.
it's it
Yeah,
feels it feels like I'm trying to make you comfortable. We're trying to make you comfortable, but we're making you uncomfortable at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, but
no, no, no.
it
That makes a lot of sense. That's a great way to sort of communicate it. And you asked me before,
Mhm.
you said, what's the equivalent of that for being Jewish? Here's the equivalent. The equivalent is, again, and Jews, there's only 15 million Jews in the whole world, 0.02% of the entire world population. Very, very small amount of Jews in the world, even though it feels like there's a lot more Jews than there are. There's really not. There's very tiny group of people, right?
Mhm.
Um, like I said, I'm a white guy until at some point in a dynamic of a group where it's either I choose to reveal it or it gets revealed in some way, shape, or form. I'm a Jew. And then come the jokes. It comes through breaking balls, You're breaking someone's balls, and suddenly there's a joke about the Holocaust, or there's a joke about there's some joke, or someone throws pennies at you or throws pennies at your feet or whatever. So it comes in the way of and it's playful. It's not meant to be it's
Mhm.
not meant to be like necessarily malevolent or malicious or mean-spirited,
Mhm.
but what comes with it is always you're talking about like how like, oh, it's everybody's so extra. For us, I feel comfortable saying this speaking about Jews in general. It's who told you it was okay to make a joke like that? You know, like
Mhm.
that, like, did you like maybe that joke is not okay? Like maybe that makes me feel uncomfortable. And you don't make a big deal about it. But if you don't make a
Mhm.
big deal about it, then it keeps happening and it keeps happening
Yeah.
more and more. And it's just this weird thing because it's like, I don't understand it because I'm like Ashkenazi Jews, there's like I said, there's three types of Jews, three main types of Jews. There's the white looking Jews. We come from Europe. We're the Ashkenazi Jews. Then you got the Mizrahim Jews. They're the Iraqi Jews. They're the Middle Eastern Jews. They're dark. You'd think they're anything. They look like just some like type of dark person, right? There's some like my wife, and it's funny. My daughter, she has like darker olive skin like my wife, and my son, he's like whiter like me. It's weird how that kind of
Mm.
works. And then you got the third type of Jew, which is a Sephardic Jew, and they're kind of like dark too, but they're kind of look like some like Greek, like some other, sort of shade of ethnic something. Um, and but what's interesting, so for the majority of the Ashkenazi Jews who are in America, you suddenly you reveal that you're Jewish, or maybe you even make a joke, but you make the joke, so it's okay because you made the joke. But then suddenly everybody feels that they have a license to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I don't know how it's like first you go like,
Yeah.
is it really that big of a deal? But why
Mhm.
does it make me feel uncomfortable? And like, why do I feel uncomfortable? And it
Yeah.
feels uncomfortable because it's done without consent. So it's this weird kind of like, and it's slow. It starts off with like a little thing, like, oh yeah, they remember that you're Jewish. And then before you know it, then they're doing, and it always just gets more intense and more intense and more intense. And it always goes back to the fact that you're Jewish, which is so weird because you're like, wait, I'm I am a fucking white guy. I look like any other fucking white guy. So
Mhm.
why I'm suddenly a Jew? Like I'm suddenly not. I'm suddenly you have found a way to make me different from you.
Different. Yep.
And that's what will occur. And usually, and again, or there's some weird insensitive sort of tolerance that comes out where you just kind of like you're like, oh, that's not funny. But everybody else thinks it's funny. But I'm like, no, that's not funny at all. Like that's
Mhm.
and you don't want to like make a big deal about it, but you try to be cool about it, but like, deep down inside. And so that's probably I would say again, I can't relate exactly to the experience because I've not had that. I've not had to deal with those issues.
Yeah.
But that's probably the closest I can sort of try and approximate in some way, shape, or form from my
But
personal experience.
but one of the things that was is jump back to Jordan Peele too, and one of the things about
Yeah.
Jordan Peele movies where I've said this in many interviews, I've said this in videos. My biggest problem with Jordan Peele is not that it's not him his filmmaking style. He makes beautiful films. You know what I mean? He really
Mhm.
does.
Mhm.
And I think he's a great filmmaker. It's just that
It's the subject matter.
what it's not this subject matter. He says I've said it before. He says things that should be kept in the black community, or he does
Oh,
things that should be kept in the black community. And once again, majority of people, like any filmmaker I have come on my show who's white, oh, who's your favorite filmmaker? Jordan Peele, Jordan Peele, Jordan Peele. You rarely hear the black filmmakers say that, and because majority of his audience are Caucasians, and but he wants to share not the positive aspects of African American, the negative things that I feel like most white people don't know about African Americans.
that is can I tell you that that is incredibly insightful to me? Like, because first of all, you're blowing my mind right now. Like, these are things I never considered. Like, but it's amazing to hear. I'm very grateful for this perspective because it makes total sense. And I also understand too. I understand what you're saying as well about like the idea of like how there are cultural aspects that are guarded within the Black community in the same way that I know you were talking about, like, everybody's invited to the cookout, but, like, the cookout is a great example of, like,
Mhm.
that special elaborate thing, the potato, right? It's the potato salad, like, the
Yes.
special thing that sort of like, that sort of, that is something that one Black person understands to another Black person on a deep cultural level that others do not, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and, you know, I think that there's a lot, like, I don't know, are you familiar, do you go on Black Twitter a lot? Are you on Black Twitter at all?
I'm not on Twitter at all. So, yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Are you
Mhm.
familiar with Black Twitter?
Yes. Mhm.
So I think Black Twitter, like for me, as someone trying to understand that POV even more, like
Mhm.
I know you can't really subscribe to Black Twitter.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to, but like every once in a while, like I pop onto like these chains, like about like different Black Twitter events,
Mhm.
and the humor, like the sensibility of the humor, it's like a window into the understanding, into an understanding that's like on a level that I've not experienced. So it's very
Mhm.
interesting. So when you're talking about what you're saying about like Jordan Peele taking taking certain aspects, cultural aspects that are kind of within the realm of understanding, like these are things that go under
And
everybody
it's
else's
not
nose.
even but it's not even the good things. Like I said, it's not the
Right,
positive things.
right, and
It's
it's
not
negative
like
things.
like I'll point on one. I'll point on one real quick. Um, Black women make more money than Black men, right? On average
I
in this
didn't know
country.
that. Is that true?
Black women are the highest educated group of women in the whole entire country. So they make more
Hmm.
money.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the only race where the women make more money than the men, or are more successful, more educated, highly educated, blah 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 blah. Fill in the blank.
Mhm.
So if you watch his and unfortunately most Black women in marriages or in relationships, they are the head of the household. They
Mm.
are they're the leader. They are the responsible one. They're the one. They're the decision maker. And I don't think other races of people know that, right?
Hmm.
So like you see a movie like Us, for instance,
Yeah, I was about to, I
and
wanted to ask you about, okay, yeah, go ahead. I was gonna ask you about Us.
and
Yeah.
you see a movie like Us, and you see the husband, big, tall motherfucker,
Yeah.
big old, big motherfucker, built like a tank.
Yeah.
You see how he is such a coward. He hides behind his wife and kids. He's complaining about his knee the whole entire fucking movie. And to the point where at the end of the movie, which this would never ever happen, and you know what I mean, like this is the most coward thing ever, where his wife is about to go into the sewer to fight whatever,
Right.
and he looks at her and he says, "Honey, I'm gonna sit in this ambulance with the kids." No fucking man is doing that. You know what I mean? No man is doing that. No man is sitting there complaining about his knee while his wife and kids are protecting him. And if you watch all of Jordan Peele's movies, he makes the men weak.
So he's emphasizing this sort of this
Yes,
thing.
even if you look at Nope,
Yeah,
uh,
what's a Nope? Tell me about Nope.
you look at Nope, the guy who owns the guy who's from Get Out, who owns
Yeah.
West Clark.
Yeah. Jean,
He
he owns the horse jean jacket.
he owns a horse gene check, but he needs his sister to help him. He's dumb. He's shy. You know what I mean? He needs her, who's ghetto and loud, to help him. He cannot run that ranch successfully without her.
Interesting.
And you see that even in the Candyman movie. You got a woman who's a lawyer, and she is married to a guy, a broke motherfucker who is a artist. He fucks up everything he does. He's living in her place. She hooks him up with job after job and job. And what does he do? He shows up late, he fucks it up, he doesn't this and that, blah blah blah. And at the end of the movie, who is saving who? She is saving him. If you
Yeah.
notice that with a lot of Jordan Peele's movie, it's the Black woman saving the Black man. And you don't see that in other races of horror movies. You don't see that. You don't see the woman coming to the rescue of the man.
That's really I mean, that's really interesting. Let me ask you this. What about, so then on the flip side, Jordan Peele also highlights, and I'm this is just
By the
devil's
way,
advocate here.
I got one last thing to see. There was a movie
Yeah,
that
yeah,
came
go
out a
ahead.
couple years ago. It was called The Blackness. I don't know if you remember that. It was a horror movie.
I haven't seen it, but that's the one. Yes, I'm
But
familiar
it
with it.
makes fun. There, if you watch the
Yes.
trailer, even it makes fun. There's a black woman beating what's called, and she goes, "I don't understand why we always have to come to black man rescue." You know what I mean? Like, and that's the truth. If you watch those, it's making fun of Jordan Peele movies where, but it's not even Jordan Peele. Any movie where there's black people in like a horror or thriller scene, there was one out. There was one out a couple years ago. It was Dennis Quaid was the killer, so crazy white man killer, and Michael Easley and Making Good, and like Dennis Quaid knocks Michael Easley out.
No,
One hit.
I think I saw that.
Yes, and now Megan Good has to protect her fucking husband from another man, and she whips his ass and kills him. Like that is what black horror looks like. But you're giving other races a snippet. I mean, a peek into the black culture. That's something that should not be proud of, and that's that black women have overachieved over black men. The only race you look in a white race, white men definitely make more than white women. They have their homeowners, education wise, all that stuff. Asian, Jewish, whatever. But there's a huge difference between in the black community where black men are down here and black women up here.
Right. So you have a black filmmaker dipping into the
who's married to a white woman, by the way. That's the other aspect to it.
And I mean, not that this matters, but he's also, I believe he's half white. Yeah, he's half black. Not that it doesn't matter. He's black. Black is black. Yeah, right? Yeah. But the idea that you know it does change his it does slightly change his background in the sense that he grew up with a white parent, right? A little bit on some level, on some sort of intrinsic level, maybe. But this is really illuminating. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you one last question about this.
Sure.
No, in Nope, all of the
by the way, no black people are sticking around to videotape aliens. So that's the fakest. I mean, that's the biggest fucking sham in the fucking. Black people do not stick around where weird shit happens. We run. We fucking run. We run.
I get it. I get it.
So that even right there shows me that Jordan Peele doesn't necessarily
like you couldn't suspend your disbelief because you're like, no, that's not what black people see.
But that also shows too that Jordan Peele doesn't think like a black person because, and maybe that's could be the white side. I don't know. Because he would know that no black person is sticking around to film aliens. There's no such thing of that ever happening.
Which is so funny too, because it's the fucking cinematographer. It's that white cinematographer guy who gets eaten to get the final shot, right? He sticks around. He waits there to get his crank.
But I'm telling you, there's no situation like that. They would have sold a ranch and just called it a
Right. So it's interesting too. So now here's the that's also very interesting. What about the flip side of Jordan? And this is me playing a little devil's advocate here. Jordan Peele highlighting the history of the black dude on the horse being the first subject of moving pictures at the dawn of film, and sort of bringing this kind of lost history. And then it kind of gets reenacted in a way at the end where, you literally have a black person on a horse racing at the end, and then taking pictures of this alien using this archaic photo device sort of thing. What about that stuff? Is there redeeming?
This is great. Listen, so when it comes to Jordan Peele, I don't like Jordan Peele. I think Jordan Peele is doing something great when it comes to black cast, black actors, actresses, all that good stuff. That's what predominantly he does in his movies. I'm just saying that I don't think Jordan Peele's movies are
the tropes. It's the tropes.
His movies are not relatable to the average black person in this country. His movies are more relatable to, believe it or not, the average white person in this country.
Wow.
But if you're standing from the outside, once again, and you look at Jordan Peele's face, black face, and you look at his cast, okay, all the black people, who is his movies for? You would think black people. Jordan Peele movies are not meant for black people.
They're meant for white people looking through the prism of the black experience.
Yes, 100%.
That was, I have to tell you, that was so, I have to tell you, first of all, I really want to thank you for this conversation
You're welcome.
because that, like, this was really interesting and illuminating for me because I never, ever thought, and I love me
It
some
makes
Jordan Peele.
sense. It makes sense now, though, right?
Makes total are you kidding? It makes total sense. And it's not, listen, I will go to every Jordan Peele movie that comes out, you know, but I'm going to be looking a little bit deeper at these sort of aspect, or at least my radar will be sort of trying to see if I can grasp a little. And you know, what's funny, and maybe they're out there and I've just hasn't been on my radar. I'm surprised. I feel like there's not enough there. I don't feel like I've ever read anything that sort of like any black writers who have sort of tried to succinctly describe what you've so perfectly described here in this episode.
Well, I actually, I was on a YouTube show which I don't even promote, and they had me on for an interview, and it was because I did a video. I did a video where I said,
see, is that on your channel? Is that on your channel, the video?
Yes,
I'm gonna watch it.
But I did a video where I said, Candyman does not like black people, right? That's what I said. I said Candyman does not like.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not laughing. It's just the way you said it. It's just the way you said it just now.
I said Candyman doesn't like black people, right? And then like a black YouTuber who has a horror channel said, you know, he was like, do you want to come on my show and discuss this, right? And I was like, oh, this would be a fun topic for two black YouTubers to talk about, horror YouTubers. But he cut and edited everything I said to the point where I think he was trying to please a white audience or something. I don't know what it was, but it looked to make me seem like I was saying something.
Yeah, he changed what you were saying.
The complete context of what I was saying. And I was just breaking down. If you look at it, when it comes to Candyman, he, you know the story about Candyman, but he preys on poor black people in the projects. And I'm like, why is his beef with poor black people in the projects? But he's chasing after this blonde-haired white woman, trying to save her life and shit. But he's killing poor black kids and stuff in the project. And this was a man who was killed by racist white people.
Right.
I'm simply saying it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I mean, the poor black people in the projects already had it hard enough in Chicago.
Right. And, like, totally. Caprini Green. That's Caprini Green. Yeah.
So why is he taking it out on them? But then I broke it down to I broke it down to a whole another avenue. I was like, you know,
I found your video, by the way. Who are Jordan Peele movies made for? I'm gonna watch that. Sorry, continue.
But I broke it down to a whole nother level. I was like, you know, I'm more likely as a black male to get statistics say to get killed by another black man than I am a white person. Believe it or not, that's what statistics say. And I believe it because most violent acts have happened to me, from getting robbed, pistol whipping, and stuff, have been somebody who looked like me, you know? So like, it makes sense that a black horror movie villain would kill people who look like him, because statistically that's what it is. So anyway, so I was breaking it down into that, but where the fuck was I going? You talked to another black YouTuber. You were honest. He wanted you to come on his show because you said that Candyman doesn't like black people. Where was I going?
And then he edited what you were saying to make it sound like it wasn't what you were saying.
Yes, but then I went into Jordan Peele and I was talking about Jordan Peele, and he was like saying that I was reaching. And he goes, dude, you're reaching, and you know, this and that. I'm like, okay, I see what he's doing. I'm like, I 100%, as the interview was going on, I 100% seen what he was doing.
You have to send me this video when we're done. You don't have to promote who it is, but
no, I'm not promoting it. But yeah. I was like, he's a black man, but he is trying to make me seem like I'm some kind of angry black man or something. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, No, I thought we're having a debate, devil's advocate, on why boom, 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 like, an educational talk. But the way he edited it was just like I was just talking crazy.
Yeah.
And I never promoted those videos because I did not like the way they turned out.
Sure.
But you see how I just broke it down to you about Jordan Peele, and it makes absolute sense. I was trying to do that on his show, but it turned into something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy how you're talking about something and then all of a sudden it turns on a dime, and it's like, especially when editing,
Yes.
editing is involved, and suddenly things are being edited to be a certain way, and suddenly something gets taken out of context of whatever it is that you're saying, and you're not appealing to my worldview on this subject, so I'm going to, sort of affect that bend. I really need to. I'm definitely. It's been a while since I've revisited Jordan Peele's movies. I'll probably, when this new one comes out, I'll probably rewatch all the other ones. I mean, here's the thing about Jordan Peele too, is like taking the fact that he's a black voice in horror filmmaking out of it entirely. He's making like original, interesting, fresh movies. And yes, he is, yes, all that stuff you were saying like is great too, that, he's using black casts and, bringing different sort of perspectives to light. Like there are many levels where I think, where I really appreciate and respect and love what Jordan Peele's doing, but it is very interesting to hear this black perspective about his filmmaking and how it sort of dwells on, highlights, negative aspects of the black community, specifically for white people, because white people are the ones that are going, like, that's part of it,
But it's amazing what he's doing too. Is he's a black filmmaker with a black cast, and he has a white audience. Like, who else? Spike Lee doesn't do that. Jonathan, none of those motherfuckers do that shit.
They don't. It's true. They don't. Not even. I was about to say, who's the guy at fucking who has an empire? What the fuck is his name?
Tyler Perry.
Yeah, Tyler Perry. Right, Tyler Perry.
They're not able to get the white audience. They're not able to do that. They're basically sticking on to the black audience.
He has transcended. He has found a way to transcend. And so so on some levels, I think on some levels there's like a lot of potential. Keyword here, potential.
He's a genius.
He's a genius, but there's a lot of potential good that can be done there.
Yes.
But from what I'm hearing from you, as a black man, as a dude who loves horror movies, like that there are also these sort of like bittersweet negative aspects of it too, which again, like, did not realize. Interesting.
And the crazy thing is too, listen, I don't know. I think his mother was white and I think his father was black. So maybe he had some kind of resentment towards black men. I don't know. I just made an awful assumption that his father wasn't there. But listen,
right now.
Yeah, but I feel like he
married a white Jewish woman, by the way. She's Jewish, I believe.
But I just feel like he has a negative view. I think he's
of black men, is what you're saying.
Of black men, and I think he is trying to get the black woman audience. See what I mean? And you know where the reason why I think he's trying to get the black woman audience? Because black women, I'm gonna wrap this up with this final one. Because black women did not go see Get Out.
Here's what it says on his early. Here's what it says on his early life. Should I read this? Can I read this?
Sure.
Okay.
Shoot it.
It says Jordan Peele was born in New York City on February 21st, 1979. His mother, Lucinda Williams, is white from Maryland. His father, Hayward Peele Jr., who died in 1999, was African American, originally from North Carolina. Peele last saw his father when he was 7 years old and was raised by his single mother on Manhattan's Upper West Side. Doesn't that sort of highlight everything that you were either saying or alluding to?
Thank you.
White mother, raised on the Upper West Side. Father was black. didn't see his father after he was 7, which I know is another thing within communities of that's a stigma or a
Yes.
thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to use the wrong word here. And how perhaps that did influence in his writing how he and he married Chelsea Peretti. Is Chelsea, hold on a second, maybe she's not Jewish because Peretti is not. Her
Sounds
father
like
is
Italian.
Italian. Okay, she is Jewish because Judaism is, her mother is Jewish. Her father is Italian, so we call those pizza bagels. Pizza bagels. So she
You
is.
can call them that. I'm not going to call them
You,
that.
I think it's okay. It's okay to say pizza bagel. That's not. It's an endearing. It's I understand you're not comfortable saying that. You don't have to. I will just say that it is an endearing thing that we say as your pizza bagel, and it's very common. An Italian
Really?
father and a Jewish mother. That's a very common thing. But here's
Interesting.
what's interesting: her stepfather was African American. So that's kind of interesting too.
So that's why, yeah. But it makes sense now. Listen, listen. I'm putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Get Out, right? Get Out. Low African American, Black African American attendance seeing that movie, right? So then he makes Us, which has a lead Black woman in Lupita, and he makes Black man seem dumb and weak, and he continues to use that role all the way throughout. And the reason why he sees Black men as dumb and weak is because his Black father, was never in his life.
It definitely, it's definitely an interesting, and listen, I feel like there are so many filmmakers and just in general people whose art is influenced by their upbringing and their perception of the world and how they were shaped and this, that, and the other. So that's a very interesting notion. And I have to say, I was not expecting such a deep, interesting, considerate, wonderful conversation about this stuff. This was fantastic. Thank you. Truly.
No problem. Thank you. I mean, listen. I've been trying to do my Jordan Peele spill breakdown for the longest time, and nobody really gave me the chance to really break it down. And you gave me the chance, and you were open ears. You listened to me,
yeah,
and the shit makes sense, right?
It totally tracks. And you know what? This is shit that I never would have been. This is something I never could have understand if I didn't hear it from a Black man's perspective. And that's why, to me, it's just very interesting it gives me, I feel like this is stuff that goes over most white people's heads if you're not at least understanding. Like a great example, when this is a sidebar, and I know we got to wrap this up. This is a sidebar though, super quick. When all that shit, I thought a very interesting conversation. This talks about what we're talking about in terms of race and understanding of things. Very interesting event that happened within the Black community that I found to be very profound for a lot of different reasons. And I read deep into the subtext. Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, Chris Rock slap at the Oscars, right? And Chris Rock had a beef with Jada Pinkett Smith, right? Going way back. They had, I don't know how are you familiar with all this stuff?
I didn't know that a beef go way back. But
yeah, they had a beef going way back. But it's kind of interesting how I know that there's all this back and forth between Will and Jada Pinkett, and lots of people think about her in a certain way, and lots of people think about him in a certain way, and but what's interesting is that he was making jokes about her hair, and he was making jokes about her hair when he had directed a documentary about Black people hair.
Good hair. Yes.
Good hair. So he knows all about not only hair, but the sensitivity that Black women have with their hair in a variety of different ways. Right. And she suffers from alopecia, which is not uncommon.
I don't think he knew that though.
I think he did know. I don't know if he know that. I think he did know that. And obviously Will Smith knew that, but it sort of knowing those few details sort of really like further made that whole situation. It was like there were layers and layers and layers of understanding, and it all depended on, you know, what your background was. Like white people, I'm sure felt very differently than how black people. It was like this weird sort of pinpoint of an almost racial event because it happened on the Oscars.
Yeah.
It happened in front of millions and millions of people.
And it was 2 black men.
And it was 2 black men, and it was over a black woman. And it was just like, again, all of the dynamics, right? There's all these different dynamics. Some of them are really obviously within the black community and known to the black community a lot more. And then there are other ones that are maybe a little bit more familiar to, say, people outside of the black community. But that's what was so interesting about the whole sort of situation. There were just different layers of understanding. And I feel like that's kind of like what Jordan Peele's movies are, to bring it the point back around.
Well, I don't think anybody's paying attention at this point. I think most people have checked out, or I don't know, they may be still here. So I'm gonna, if you're interested, I'm gonna break down. I'm gonna break down. If you would like me to do it, listen. As a black man, I can break down the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, Chris Rock thing real quick.
Do it. I
want
to, please do it.
All right, are you ready?
So, I'm ready for this. Yes.
Jada Pinkett was always in love with Tupac.
Right, I've heard this.
To the point where she, during the whole entire relationship and the marriage, she was saying, "Oh, Tupac was my true love." And I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with a woman who constantly brings up her ex in a positive fucking way. It is the most infuriating fucking thing ever, right? Mm-hmm. So, if Tupac was, but Tupac did not want to be with Jada. Jada was just a fuck chick to him. You know what I mean? So you see what's going on here, right? So Jada never had respect for Will Smith, right? And because he is very jokey and kiddie, he's very immature. You know what I mean? He's very immature, and he's the Fresh
Prince of Bel-Air.
He's a jokey kiddie guy. You know, I could see how most women would find him annoying 24/7. You know what I mean? Because he's probably joking and he's probably never serious. You know what I mean? At home. Yeah. And Jada Pinkett is just a fucking serious, no smile type woman. They're almost complete opposites. So what happens is Jada decides to fuck August Alsina, who's an R&B singer, right? Who is half her age. And it comes out. You know what I mean? It was the
romantic entanglement. Yeah.
It comes out. And you can imagine there's a difference between if a man cheats on his wife and a woman cheats on her husband. A woman, a man who cheats on his wife, I'm not saying it's fucking good or anything, but it's a different psychological thing. But imagine, because it's harder for a man to get over of his wife cheating in my eyes. But imagine the whole entire fucking world knows now. The whole fucking wife knows that your wife was fucking another dude in your house. And I felt like Will Smith has had all this bent up resentment and anger towards Jada. And I just felt like he fucking snapped. I felt like he snapped he was laughing. He thought it was funny. And he looked at that scowl on that bitch's face.
She scowled at him.
Scowl on that bitch's face. And she was like, "Sicken boy," like he's some kind of fucking dog. Because he does everything that she tells him to do. When the whole cheating thing came on, she made him come on her talk show.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Humiliating. That was humiliating.
She has no respect for him. And I say this right now: Will Smith should have divorced that bitch as soon as he found out that she was cheating on him. That was the perfect opportunity to divorce her, and he would not have given her 50% of everything he fucking had. Now it's too late. Also, too, Will Smith is also gay.
I've heard this.
Will Smith is 100% a homosexual. So that's my wraparound on Will Smith.
But either which way, he, I mean, I don't know if maybe he's on the spectrum there. Maybe he's not exactly. Maybe he's like, maybe he goes both ways.
Well, I think he prefers men. I think Will Smith prefers men.
I
I'm not,
do not know.
I'm
But
just,
but what's interesting though is that everybody had an opinion on that event, and
it was
depending
different.
on who you talk to, and that's why I thought it was such an interesting event that like really spoke to sort of A, racial tension, B,
Mhm.
like the different racial understanding of this event that everybody saw it, but everybody saw it through a different shade of
But Jeff, it was
understanding.
crazy. It was crazy. Just even the black race, black women were on Will Smith's side, but black men was on Chris Rock's side.
It's like that, but that's what I mean. Like that's fascinating because and then it's like it's like every white person was like wanted thought that Will Smith should be arrested and
Yes.
like removed from the Oscars right then and there. You know, like it was just so interesting. It was so interesting to see how everybody had an opinion and
But it
there the
wasn't every white
lines were
person. It
not
wasn't
no,
every
not
white person.
everyone, but there
Like the
were
feminists, like I would say the feminist white women were definitely on Will Smith's side because
mm,
so I think there was little small pockets of white women that were on Will Smith's side. I felt like there was more in general. I feel like more women were on Will Smith's side, more men were on Chris Rock's side. In general, race and everything, I felt like more women were turned on. I say by the jealous guy, the jealous
right. He was
husband is defining
standing up for
wife.
his wife. Yeah.
I feel like more women sided with Will Smith than Chris Rock, and I feel like more men, like I sided with Chris Rock,
Right.
100%. I sided on
I
Chris Rock
had
with that.
no I had no
You
dog in
don't,
the fight.
you don't walk up and sucker punch somebody. You know
No,
what I mean? Like
100%. Like
you do not
what
walk
Chris
up.
Rock did, what Will Smith did was Chris
It's
Rock was a
coward.
comedian doing a job. He was doing his
It's
job
it
on
it,
the
it,
stage
it, it was a coward move. It was a coward move,
because he knew that he could do it with
and Chris Rock
impunity.
wasn't going to do
Yeah, he
anything.
wasn't going to do shit.
He wasn't Chris not going to.
Because
If that
also Will Smith is bigger than Chris Rock. Will
Yes,
Smith could beat Chris Rock's ass.
if that was Dave Chappelle, if Dave Chappelle was up there, he could have been talking about Jada's pussy and everything. Will Smith would have sat there and just
Well,
looked.
Dave Chappelle is jacked now. Like he's
Yes, I
jacked
am
like a motherfucker.
telling you, he
Yeah.
could have called his wife a whore and everything on that stage. Will Smith would have sat right down and just looked.
But Will Smith did get up there, and that was another interesting dynamic about it was that Will Smith basically sized up Chris Rock,
Yep,
was like, "I'm gonna do this. No one's gonna stop me. I'm gonna be able to do
yep.
this." And
And I
what a fucking event, dude.
and
What
I
an
know
event.
that, you're not going to do anything
Right.
because you're smaller and you're professional.
Yeah.
He knew that Chris Rock was a professional, and he was not going
And he
to,
did not get removed. In fact, he took that he got to go
which
back
is
up there and take an
fucking
Oscar,
crazy.
which is
Which is fucking
crazy. Did
crazy.
Chris who wait, so where was Chris Rock when he got back up? I didn't even like think about that. Was he
I think
like,
he was in the back somewhere putting ice on his fucking face.
yeah, like that's
Yeah.
just the whole thing was what an insane
Listen,
situation.
all right, Chad. Listen, I'm gonna
Yeah,
come on your show next.
yeah,
I'm gonna
listen,
come on
you're
your
gonna
show
cut.
next.
Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm really serious. Here's what we'll do. First of all, thank
Uh-huh.
you again for having me on. I
No,
really
no
appreciate
problem,
it. I
man.
appreciate your time. You're an awesome dude.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a top five. And this is the way the top five works.
Mhm.
You don't tell me what your top five is, and I don't tell you what mine is. If we have the same thing, if I say one of your top fives, you have to remove it from your list. Meaning
Ooh.
if I say it first, so it's kind of like a game of horse, and you have to put something else on. But you obviously we
Ooh.
both get to talk about whatever it is, and we don't know what each other's lists are. So let's say that we were doing like I've done, for example, I've done on my show, I've done like threequels, horror
Mhm.
threequels, the best top five third horror films in movie trilogies.
Oh my goodness. Let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
Let's
Like,
do this.
so, well, I already did threequels, but I'm saying we'll
Yeah,
do
yeah.
top
No,
five
let's
of
do one.
something.
You want to do one? Yeah.
And it could be, listen, we can do, if I'll tell you what, you, since you're my guest, since you'll be my
Mhm.
guest, you pick what you want to do the top five of, and then
Well,
you'll
we're gonna
come on
do.
and we do it
I'm gonna
live.
I'm gonna tell you what is right now. The top 5 best sex scene kills in a horror movie.
Oh
So that
my
means 2
God.
people are fucking getting it on and they both get fucking off.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna have to think. That's gonna take a lot of thinking. I'll do it. Yes. All right. Wait, so they both hold on. So just to qualify,
Mhm.
2 people have to be having sex and they both have to die.
Yes.
All
Either
right.
in the act of having sex or like right post they're cuddling or
Well,
some
hold
shit.
on. You have to
Okay,
be
in the
very
actual act,
specific. You have to be
it's
very precise.
in the actual act of fucking.
Is there any could one be initiating the wanting to fuck while the other one is maybe like do they have to actively be fucking? 5 sex scenes that lead to
Okay,
death.
all right. Listen, titties have to be out.
Oh.
Man, woman, stuff,
How about this?
titties,
How about
death.
this? How about this? They have to be hooking up in a way that is about that either is in fucking or is about to be fucking.
Okay, good.
Will that suffice for
Or
criteria?
finish fucking.
Or
You wanna
they
do that
just
too?
finish fucking? Okay. All right. I'm gonna sit. Wow. I if I could come up with 5, Jesus Christ. I have one already in my head. I have one.
Okay.
Um, actually, I think it's a really fucking good one. Actually, it might be my number
There's some
1.
there's some iconic ones, man. There's some if you sit there and think about some iconic ones.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a bunch
Mhm.
of them in like the slash movies, but I'm trying to think outside of that. Yeah, there's definitely some that I might have to bend a little bit, but there's some stuff. I will sit. So we'll come up with our list, and you'll come on one night, and we do it live. So it'll be fun.
Sounds a blast, man.
All
Sounds
right.
a blast.
Hey,
All right,
thank you so
everybody.
much, man.
Yes, listen, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Jeff Frumess. Thank you for
Jeff
watching part
Frumess.
Frumess, Jeff.
It's okay. It's okay. I shouldn't have said anything. It's fine. It's fine. You're good. You're
All
good.
right,
Dude.
I just blew his mind too. So, but thank you for coming. I feel like I might have blew a lot of white people mind who just got them watching this show.
Dude, if you
So,
you gotta chop when you that the second part, it's like gotta talk. It's like you know what you do. You like put God, you gotta think of a good title for this about Jordan Peele. Like Jordan Peele. Actually, you really do. Your other video has a better title. Your other video has a title. Who are Jordan Peele's movies meant for? Maybe
yeah.
the secret something like what do black people or what does a black horror fan think about Jordan Peele's horror movies? What does the black community? How about what does the black community think about Jordan Peele's horror movies? Explain to a white person, something like that. I don't know. That will
Oh
get.
yeah,
That will get.
yeah.
That will get a. You'll figure it out, but that'll get.
I'll get a title. Yeah,
That'll
that'll
get
get
views.
tons. Yeah,
That'll
that
be
would.
good. That'll
That
be
would.
good.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
All right, you have
Peace.
a good
We'll
night.
talk. We'll talk. We'll talk.
All right.